कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभं नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणम् सर्वांगे हरिचन्दनं सुललितं कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूड़ामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंस चाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. We are reading from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran, and we are into the first 20 chapters or so, and we have covered various episodes of Shri Krishna Bal Leela, and every chapter was so enthralling. For the Rasik sense, the Leelas where Shri Krishna is killing the demoniac, they say, what is that? You know, they don't relish those Leelas so much as the Leelas like Ukhal Leela or the pranks of Shri Krishna, the naughty acts of Shri Krishna, you know, his naṭṭhikī. So those are even more relishable. So we have now moved from those Bal Leelas into the description of the seasons, and then we will get into the Leelas with the residents of Vrindavan, and most prominently the background for the Ras Leela and the Ras Panchadhyay will be made through these chapters. So let us explore all those. But before we do that, let us begin the session with a bhajan. So over to Yatinji.
जी भैया. पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए. O friend, obtain your priceless beloved without giving any price. This opportunity is a rare chance which you may not receive again. Believe me, I am telling the truth. If you want to become Krishna's beloved for eternity, surrender your body, mind, and soul. Offer everything to Krishna and receive the bliss of divine love, which will drench your whole being. Then drink that bliss of Krishna love forever and also distribute it to others. Says Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, O soul, make this life successful. Why do you want to enter the endless despair again? Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So let me sing the first three lines, and next two lines will be by Yatinji. Piya mol, piya mol amolak lijiye, piya mol amolak lijiye. पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए पिया मोल अमोलक लीजिए अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेगो अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेगो अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेगो, अस अवसर फिर नाही मिलेगो। बातन राधे बातन मोरे पति जिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी, बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी, बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी, बनन चहत जो अमर सुहागिनी। तन मन राधे तन मन प्राणन दीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, तन मन प्राणन दीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए।
दय सर्वस लै प्रेम सुधारस, दय सर्वस लै प्रेम सुधारस, दय सर्वस लै प्रेम सुधारस, दय सर्वस लै प्रेम सुधारस। तेहि रस राधे तेहि रस महनत भीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। तेहि रस महनित भीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। पुनीते ही रस ही पिवाइय और ही, पुनीते ही रस ही पिवाइय और ही, पुनीते ही रस ही पिवाइय और ही, पुनीते ही रस ही पिवाइय और ही। आप हूँ राधे आप हूँ सोई रस पीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। दे आप हूँ सोई रस पीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। जन्म कृपालु सफल कर लीजिए, जन्म कृपालु सफल कर लीजिए, जन्म कृपालु सफल कर लीजिए, जन्म कृपालु सफल कर लीजिए। क्यों कर राधे क्यों कर निज कर मीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए। दे क्यों कर निज कर मीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए।
पिय मोल अमोलक लीजिए, श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की
की
जय,
जय,
श्रीमद युगल सरकार की
की
जय,
जय।
जय जय श्री
श्री
राम,
राधे,
जय जय
जय
श्री
श्री
राधे,
राधे,
जय
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 श्री
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 राधे.
राधे,
राधे.
Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundanandji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now let us begin the session. We are reading the chapter 20, which is Monsoon and Autumn in Vrindavan. So this chapter will talk about the seasons in Vrindavan. In India, we have 6 seasons: Grishma Ritu, Sharad Ritu, Shishir Ritu, Varsha Ritu, etc. So let us read the slides. On hearing of the Pralambasur Leela and also that Krishna had swallowed the fire, the gopis and the elders were extremely astonished and considered Krishna and Balram as the foremost of devatas, come down to Vraj to protect them. And then the monsoon season arrived, giving life, nourishment, and fresh breeding to all creatures. Sukdev Ji Paramhans has given brilliant metaphor comparisons of the monsoon and autumn effects with a jiva's conditions. The sky overcast with dark clouds is being concealed with the thunder, lightning, clouds, with the stars and planets remaining out of sight, just as a jeev remains concealed and ignorant under the three gunas. The sun god seemed to release the wealth water of the earth collected as vapor over the months, similar to a king would reimburse to his people the wealth collected in the form of revenue and taxes, etc. The clouds, as if seeing with the help of lightning the miserable condition of the earth, would then bring joy by releasing the showers, like pious persons bring joy to the world with their compassion, help, mercy, and at times even their life. So, this is the brilliance of Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. In every chapter there is the rasa of bhakti and there is knowledge also. So here, while the seasons in Vrindavan are being described, and they begin with the monsoon, that there are clouds and the sky is overcast, and the uh, overcast sky will conceal the light, etc. So this is being compared with the jiva, like the jiva remains concealed and ignorant under the three gunas. So the jiv, which is the soul, which is a part of God, is not visible. One has to understand the nature of the soul. So, in a way, it is concealed like the cloud conceals the light, etc. And the second comparison is with the stars and planets, with the sun god. So, what happens? The sun god appears, releases heat and light, and then the water vaporizes, and that water gets collected as clouds, and then it brings rain, which is so much needed for the welfare of the people. So, this is being compared to a king who will collect revenue and taxes. So, if the state owns some mines, when they sell the resources in the mines, they collect revenue. And when they impose taxes on income or imports, these are the two sources, and then they use this wealth, the taxes and the revenue, for the mitigation of the various problems in the community. So, what a wonderful way to compare the condition of the jeev. And so, the last part is the pious persons also bring joy to the world with their compassion, help, mercy, and at times even with their life. So the clouds, as if seeing with the help of lightning the miserable condition of the earth, would then bring joy. So, like the clouds bring rain and that brings joy, similarly, the pious people, they help others and bring joy in their lives. Let's move on to the next slide. The earth devoid of moisture would shrink, go dry, and lack luster, would now plump up again, drenched with the rainwater, just as an emaciated man performing severe austerities to gain something actually gets the result of the austerities and then grows robust again. It is the fireflies and not the planets that shine at the approach of night, shrouded in darkness, occasioned by a thick coating of clouds obscuring the heavenly bodies, even as it is heresies, rumors, and not the Vedas that flourish in the age of Kali, contaminated with sin, born of ignorance that clouds one's judgment. So, amazing comparisons and metaphors being used by Veda Vyasji to explain the miseries and for the mitigation of those miseries, the Vedas prescribe the the methods, but the Vedas are not easily understood. So let me just read once again. It is the fireflies and not the planets that shine at the approach of night. Yeah, in darkness occasioned by thick coating of clouds. So the comparison is being made with the fireflies, which start lighting in the night. There is another comparison in the slide, the point number 4. The frogs also start croaking in the monsoon, similar to a Brahmin student who are silent at the end of the day and again start reciting Vedic sacred mantras texts with their guru's call in the mornings. Dried up streams getting fresh water now start flowing in the monsoon rains, unrestricted and uncontrolled, similar to a man who has no control over his senses and lets his bodily and material resources flow in wrong directions uncontrolled. The earth gets covered in a green carpet dotted with white mushrooms and Indragopas, creatures with red velvety skin, like a king's army displayed in various colors. So the croaking of the frog is like a Brahmin student who are silent at the end and again start reciting. Now, I'm not sure whether this is a comment about just the chanting without real knowledge and sentiments. And the second example is dried up streams getting fresh water now start flowing in the monsoon rains, unrestricted and uncontrolled. Okay, so these monsoon rains are unrestricted and uncontrolled, and the comparison is made with a man who has no control over his senses and he lets his bodily and material resources flow in wrong direction. The next example is the earth gets covered in a green carpet. Okay, so dotted with white mushroom. This is what happens when the rainy season is there. And this is being compared with Indra Gopals. I think these are the small creatures which appear for a very short while. I think some of them do not live for more than a day or two. And in the rainy season, it is very common to see them in a big, you know, glob. They always make a circle and a big, thick, you know, the deposit of these creatures are there and they live for just a couple of days, if I recall correctly. So, next slide, if Vijay Yatinji or others can read.
Shall I start, Bhaiya, please?
जी दीदी please.
The farmers rejoice with the abundant rich crops due to the rains, whilst the lazy, wealthy would be envious of the farmers, not realizing that destiny is playing the role in it. All the creatures of land and water seem to bear a new form and appearance, just like a devotee attains a divine aura with Sri Hari Bhakti. The oceans get agitated, now flooded with the overflowing waters from the rivers. Like an immature sadhak, devotee, yogi gets agitated when distracted with other sense objects. The mountains stay calm and unperturbed, despite being lashed by the volleys of incessant rains. Just like the devotees stay calm in all calamities with their mind fixed on Lord Vishnu. The tracks and pathways get hidden under the overgrown grass like individuals, ignoring and not following the Dharma, the Vedas, due to which the texts too get hidden in with time. The same one, lightning fitting in many clouds, is like the inconsistent, unfaithful friends of a jeev. The sky shines with the rainbow, resembling a bow without a string, and a thunderous sound is just like the Supreme Brahm shining free, even though the three gunas in his avatars. Even through the three gunas in his avatars. Just as the clouds covered and blocked the moon, the Jeev too is blocked by his ego. The peacocks who start dancing on seeing the monsoon clouds, the grihasthis troubled with the miseries of the world, too start rejoicing, dancing on connection with the servants, devotees of Sri Krishna.
Again, a number of comparisons, like the farmers who rejoice with the crops they get because of the rains, and the lazy, wealthy become envious of the farmers, not realizing that it's the law of karma, the law of destiny, and all the creatures take a new form and appearance, just like a devotee who attains a divine aura. And then about oceans, it says they get agitated, flooded with overflowing waters from the rivers. It's like an immature devotee who gets agitated when distracted with sense objects. Next comparison about the mountains, they stay calm and unperturbed despite the fact that they are being lashed by the volleys of incessant rains. So that is compared to those devotees who stay calm in all calamities with their mind fixed on Lord Vishnu. And then next is about the tracks and pathways. They become hidden under the overgrown grass. These are compared to individuals who ignore and do not follow the Dharma and the Vedas. So for them, the texts remain hidden. The same one, lightning fitting in many clouds, is like incoherent, unfaithful friends of a jeep. So, like the thunder and the lightning, there are unfaithful friends of the jeep who make uh, the downfall, cause the downfall of the devotee. The sky shines with the rainbow, resembling a bow without a string. And the thunderous sound is like the Supreme Brahm shining free, even though the three gunas in his avatars. Okay, so the rainbow is compared to the Supreme Brahm, who is shining free, even though the three modes of material nature are uh, affecting are very much rampant. So on and so forth. The comparisons are so many. We need to do some self-study to understand the full purport. So let's move to the next one, Yatinji.
The water second. Yeah. The water cranes survive ignoring the slush, dirty riverbanks is similar to grihasthis who stay at home with the meager happiness derived from doing their household duties. Indradev generously pouring down showers overflows the dams with abundance and generous water. Flooding the mainlands is similar to flooding of multiple false, ignorant theories propagated by the unwise and the ignorant in the Kali Yuga. Clouds pouring down water as nectar is just like the king who, guided by the Guru's grant boons rewards to people. Rejuvenated by the water from their roots, the trees shoot up again, like an ascetic grows robust with the enjoyment of pleasures of senses after practicing severe austerities. On such monsoon days, Krishna and Balram wandered in the lush green forest with its trees bearing various ripe fruits. Goaded with Krishna's call, the cows would then speed up their walk, and the forest would resound with the sounds of the birds. If it would suddenly rain, Krishna would then take shelter under a tree or rush into a cave and would eat the collected fruits from the forest, sometimes carry and eat curd rice vegetables sitting with Balram on a stone slab near the river, along with the other boys. Krishna would then admire the scene, viewing the cows, bulls, and calves sitting on the green meadows, all ruminating, chewing the curd with their eyes closed.
Right. So again, many comparisons. The householders who stay at home and they have only meager happiness from the household duties. They are compared with water cranes. They survive on the dirty river banks, and then the Indradev generously pouring down showers, which overflows the dams and flood the mainlands, is compared to flooding of multiple false ignorant theories. So many theories go around by the unwise and the ignorant in the Kali Yuga. The clouds are being compared with the king who, guided by the Guru's, grants boons, rewards to people. So, lots of comparisons. We need to read it a few times to get the full meaning. And the other paragraph is about Krishna and Balram. They were wandering in the green forest in these monsoon days, and Krishna would goad the cows who will speed their walk, and the forest would resound with the sounds of the birds. So, if it would suddenly rain, Krishna would then take shelter under a tree or rush into a cave and would eat the collected fruits from the forest. And they will carry curd rice, vegetables, and they will sit on their stone slab near the river. And then Krishna would then admire the scene, viewing the cows, bulls, and calves who are sitting on the green meadows and they are chewing the cud. So, chewing the cud means the cow will first eat lots of grass and will deposit it in the stomach, and then they take it out and again chew, and that's the final digestion of the grass that they have grazed. And they do it with their eyes closed. So, with that, let's move on to the next slide.
And then slowly the monsoon got over and the autumn approached, with clear skies and cool breeze and clean river banks, river waters. With autumn, the rivers bloomed with lotuses in clear water, just like yogis who have gone astray for some time regain their yogic practices. I- The earth then got cleared of its overgrowth of monsoon creations growths, dried up its collected mire dirt, and eliminated turbidity of water, just like Sri Krishna's devotion puts an end and clears all evil troubling his devotees. The dark clouds, emptying all its water content, now shone bright and white, just like a person shines bright, calm, and composed after emptying and giving up all his desires. While some mountains still flowed with streams and some did not, just like enlightened souls impart their wisdom sometimes or are silent sometimes. Those creatures living in shallow little water did not even notice the depletion of the water and suffer the bright rays of the autumnal sun, just like Grihasthis not realizing their limited time reducing on earth and continue to suffer hardships due to ignorance. The land slowly starts drying, giving up its moisture, just like a wise man slowly give up identification with the body. The oceans now became calm and quiet, just like an ascetic after reciting the Vedas, gives up that too, and with no desires, quietens and rests his mind. The farmers contain and preserve the water from flowing out, just like a yogi preserves his wisdom by controlling his senses.
So again, a plethora of comparisons, very difficult to grasp quickly and speak out. But like the last one, the farmers they contain the water from flowing out, so they make the boundaries, the mundair, and that is compared with the yogi who preserves his wisdom by controlling the senses. And again. There is another comparison about those creatures living in shallow little water did not notice the depletion is like grastas where they are not realizing their limited times, and that's what most of us are also like, because this was a question by um Yaksh to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So when the four brothers of Yudhishthir had been captured by Yaksh when they went to fetch water, and the Yaksh imposed a condition that you can take water only after you have answered my 60 questions. And no one could, no one volunteered to answer. Arjun, Nakul, Sadev, and Bhim, they challenged the Yaksh because they were so much aware about their own strength. But Yaksh was more powerful. He pulled them into the lake, the pond. And when Yudhishthirji came in, he agreed to answer the 60 questions. So one of the questions was Ahanya Hanya Bhutani Gachanti Yamalayam Sesha Isthiram Ikchami Kim Ascharyam Param Tata. So, oh Yudhishthir, you see so many people dying every day, all the time. People are dying. But the greatest surprise is that we never think that this can happen to me also. Because the question was, Kim Ascharyam, what is the greatest surprise? And this was the answer of Yudhishthir. So this is what is being purported here. There is a beautiful share also about the same theme, I think by the poet Bashar. आगाह अपनी मौत का कोई बशर नहीं, आगाह अपनी मौत का कोई बशर नहीं, सामान 100 बरस का पल की खबर नहीं. We want to acquire houses and cars and so many gadgets, and we collect stuff which will last for 100 years, even in an average household. Not like Ambani's on all who have, I don't know, built fortune for how many generations. And their house, Antila, is like 27 storied. But even ordinary folks, they collect so much of wealth which they will never consume. And saman 100 baras ka pal ki khabar nahi. So all these beautiful nuggets of wisdom are being narrated through the onset of rainy season. So let's move on to the next slide.
The autumnal moon, now in its full glory, rejuvenates the beings wearied by the autumnal sun during daytime, just as wisdom rejuvenates the mind wearied by miseries of self and ego. And Lord Mukund too rejuvenated the gopis wearing by the agony of separation from him. The autumnal night sky shone brilliantly with a multitude of twinkling stars, just like a predominantly sattvic mind shines with the twinkling of the knowledge of the Vedas. While the moon shone in the clear autumnal sky surrounded by planets and stars, Sri Krishna too shone on earth, surrounded by the Vrishnis. While many bore and ignored the autumn heat, The gopis, however, continued suffering with separation from their Krishna, and their agony was unbearable during the daytime.
Right. So here the separation of gopis are being mentioned, that without Krishna their life was so insipid and even less. And so that autumnal sky is being mentioned. As I said, let's read it as self-study and then enjoy the text more. So let's move on to the next.
Except water lily, all other flowers would be in full bloom at sunrise. Just like people ruled by a just king are unfearful, except thieves who are always fearful. The earth seemed happy and bloomed all over with abundance of crops. Continuous chanting of Vedas, mantras, sacred texts, and the yajnas were given oblations of the seasonal fruits first. Festivals being celebrated on a large scale and in the very presence of Sri Krishna and Balram. With the rains coming to a close after 4 months now, the merchants, recluses, kings, and students whose movements were restricted till now due to rains in autumn now could move out to realize and achieve their goals, just like yogis restricted in their material bodies attain the spiritual goals after their lifespan comes to a close. Sukadevji then concludes this chapter.
Right. So, except water lily, all other flowers would be in full bloom at sunrise, just like people ruled by a just king are unfearful, except the thieves who are always fearful. Okay. So, beautiful comparison. And the last line, okay. Just like yogis restricted in their material bodies attain their spiritual goals after their lifespan comes to a close, because the yogis have made so many austerities and sacrifices that they achieve the highest after their life comes to an end. So with that, Sukhdev ji concludes this chapter. Sukhdev ji is narrating this chapter to Parikshit Maharaj. So that is about the chapter number 20. And so let us now. Yeah. So the takeaways, yes. Bhayam dvitiya biniveshatasya dishadapetashya viparyo smriti tanmayayato buddha abhajetam bhaktyai gurudevatatma. As I had mentioned in previous sessions, that this is an iconic shlok from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran and a most favorite shloka of Sri Maharaj Ji. He would just go so happy reading this shloka. What does it say? ईश्वर से विमुख पुरुष को उनकी माया से अपने स्वरूप की विस्मृति हो जाती है, और इस विस्मृति से ही मैं देवता हूं, मैं मनुष्य हूं, इस प्रकार का भ्रम विपर्यय हो जाता है. So what happened to us? When did we realize that we are not the body, we are the soul? The fact is, even today, we have not realized it sufficiently well. But at least the theoretical knowledge also happened, at least to me, only after I came to know Sri Maharaj Ji. With clarity, it happened only when I started hearing his lecture. And the lectures were so uh, poignant and so clear, candid, that it made so much sense. When Maharaji says, last night, the news comes in the newspaper, last night, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, passed away. And then next day, so many people are going to the Prime Minister's residence. So you ask one person, the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi passed away last night. So you are saying you are going to see her, but she already passed away. Are you also going to pass away? He said, no, no, she passed away, but we are going to see her body. So at that time, the distinction becomes very clear. Everybody becomes knowledgeable that Indira Gandhi passed away, but the body is still here. That means there was an element which passed away. Otherwise, one will go and shake the body and say, please get up. But we don't do that. We don't call that body as the name. We say this is the body. So intuitively, everybody knows. But how many of us implement it? If we were implementing, so much chaos would not be there in the society. So this is what this shloka says, that this is the handiwork of Maya. The Lord's material energy is so potent that those who are not sanmukh to the Lord, their intellect gets deluded and they start considering, I am a devata, I am a manushya, human, I am a South Indian, I am a North Indian, I am American, I am British. These are all designations of the body. This is my father, this is my mother. These are all wrong statements, because the father of the soul is God. So the other person cannot be the father. But we are all making that mistake. We repeatedly say that. That doesn't mean we should come out of the house and start telling, this is not my mother, this is not my father. No, we have to live in the world, so we have to be sensitive. But I'm talking about internalizing the knowledge. So that is the first line. And then इस देह आदि अन्य वस्तु में अभिनिवेश तन्मयता होने के कारण ही बुढ़ापा, मृत्यु, रोग आदि अनेकों भय होते हैं. So because the mind and the intellect has got deluded, we have developed abhinivesh, the fear of death, and the old age and the disease. They become so miserable. Otherwise, if a person is truly connected with God, he knows whatever is happening is as per my own karma. Oh Lord, very good, you gave me this disease. You are showering mercy so that I will suffer and this effect of the disease will go off. So you are giving me a chance to mitigate my bad karma. So thank you very much. But then, how many of us are doing it? We become so miserable when the old age and the disease, etc. arrive. इसलिए अपने गुरु को ही आराध्य देव परम प्रियतम मानकर अनन्य भक्ति के द्वारा उस ईश्वर का भजन करना चाहिए. So what is the final essence? हरि गुरु भजु नित गोविंद राधे भाव निष्काम अनन्य बना दे. राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे. So Maharaj Ji said, take this verse, Hari Guru Bhajunit Govind Radhe, and this has conveyed the entire meaning of Vedas. There is nothing else you need to know. Gagar mein sagar, the entire knowledge is contained in 2 lines. Constant remembrance of God and Guru. Ananya Bhakti, exclusive and constant devotion. Hari Guru Bhaju Nit, Bhav Nishkam, without expecting results. Nishkam. This is what we are supposed to do, and that is why we have been given the human life. With that, let us move on to the next slide. And please go ahead, Yatinji.
Ji. English translation Fear arises when a devotee misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, so wonderful. Let me read the Sanskrit once again. And if any one of you wants to read the Sanskrit, because this is such an iconic verse, you are welcome to do that. Bhayam dvitiya biniveshatasya dishad petasya viparyo viparyayo smitihi tanmayayato buddha abhajetam bhaktyai gurudevatatma.
Let me read it once more. Bhayam dutiya biniveshata shatahasya dishad petasya viparyayo smritihi तन्माययातो बुध आभजेतं भक्त्यै भक् भक्त्यैकयेशं गुरुदेवतात्मा.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe. Anyone else, Shradidi, would you like to read?
Bhayam dvitiya abhinivesh Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatahasya dishadapetasya viparyayo smritihi tadmayayato buddha bhajetam bhaktyekayesham gurudevatatma. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, wonderful. So, with that, we have concluded today's session. We began with the chanting of the invocations of Hari and Guru. We went through chapter 20 about the autumn and the rainy season and how the various phenomena which take place during the rainy season have been compared with different uh, aspects of life in the material creation. A wonderful topic. And then we sum up everything with this iconic shlok, Bhayam Dvitiya Bhini Veshata Sha, is like an icing on the cake. With that, let's conclude the session. If there is any feedback, if there is any point to discuss and contemplate, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. Uh, I would like to say this. I mean, this is like uh, beautiful session. There was Uh, I mean, it's a perfect. This chapter is perfect example of the knowledge, the condensed knowledge there is. I mean, in earlier chapters we read about the the fun things like the leelas and everything, but now in this chapter, there is so much knowledge. Almost 90% of it went over my head. So I think, as you said rightly, we have to read it like I think quite a few times to grasp the actual meaning or condensed meaning behind each line actually. So that I will do definitely. And the takeaways is like it's a perfect icing and perfect condensation of the whole Bhagavatam. The meaning behind it, that the follow and wholeheartedly to the uh, perfect devotee of the Supreme Lord, and then it will be like yeah, that was the essence, and I wholeheartedly believe in it. But I have one question regarding that. So, I mean, if Maharajji has already spoken about it or not, I just wanted to have what do you think about it? Like, is there any difference, like if we are following a guru, if is there any difference if we have met the guru in physical form, physically in front of our eyes, or we have not seen him? And is there any difference in that if we follow him?
Right. So, Maharaji once said that some of my best followers have never met me. So, this I heard with my own ears. Again, I heard in Swami Mukundanand's lecture. So, it is very wonderful that we happen to be there during Maharaji's presence. Like a very ordinary person like me got an opportunity to see him multiple times, be impressed by him, and although I know I, don't deserve, I do so many offenses, still Maharaji was so compassionate. So that's definitely a very superior realization. But on the other hand, even if I have sat on his lap but not implemented his teachings properly, I am no good. Whereas the person who just listened to his lecture, the knowledge which he has imparted, for example, when he is giving a lecture which is available on YouTube, you see him, you can imagine that you are actually in his presence. So, those who met him, well and good. Those who did not meet also should not think that they have not met him. They should think that he is so ubiquitous, he is so omnipresent that if I really want him, he will be there with me, sitting next to me. That should be the mood, and that is how we should look at it, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Ji. Sheila Didi, would you like to say something?
Radhe Bhaiya, very well said. Because I used to feel exactly what that Yatin Bhaiya has been feeling for a long time. That, I'm so unfortunate. I've not had the divine darshan of Sri Maharajji, etc., etc., etc. But having heard Maharajji's lectures and subsequently many other times, also, that similar to exactly what you said, it doesn't matter if you met him or not met him in person, but you can feel his presence if you try very hard enough. But that's the problem, not being able to try hard enough. The second question I had was this knowing, and Maharajji is drilled into our heads also, that we're not the body, we're the soul, but yet the body becomes and remains ever present, especially when you are feeling poorly, when you have some pain, when you've got a cough and a cold. Even normally, you just think of yourself as a body. Very rarely do I think of myself as a soul. How to go about it so that that goes to a sort of, changes direction completely.
Yeah. So Roop Dhyan is the way Maharaji says the most potent tool is Roop Dhyan. Whenever we have the time and inclination, we can do the Roop Dhyan. Just visualize Sri Maharaji and Radha Krishna in our heart, in our antakaran, in the subtle way. We can do that, and immediately we get connected. Also, when we chant the name, like we say Radhe with the outgoing and incoming breath, and the Lord has so categorically stated that I am seated in my name. So opportunities are aplenty. It is our own carelessness that we are not partaking of those opportunities, and then we are saying that I'm not relishing my life, I'm miserable. So it's all our doing, in my opinion. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you very much.
Hema Didi, would you like to?
Radhe Radhe. Beautiful slides. Me, my key takeaway is to have the monsoon season every day. Like the rain comes, washes away the dirt, regenerates the greenery, the trees. So in my daily sadhana, I must have that mindset that the monsoon is coming, wash away my sins, regenerate, kirtan, manan, shravanam, put in extra effort. So think of myself every day as a monsoon coming, just like the fish. When in the summer the lakes, the rivers dry out, and the fishes are literally surviving in like mud. And as soon as that rain comes, the fish, the lakes, they're all regenerated. So it's the same thing every day. I must feel like as if the monsoon is here, and try and adapt my sadhana in that way with doing my Rup Dhyan and just washing away the previous days and the current day sins, and continuously feel the presence of Sri Maharaji. When I first came into the satsang, I couldn't understand the concept of Rup Dhyan. I couldn't understand, but how can you feel, how can you see your Hari Guru there? But with repeated practice and kirtan and repeated knowledge, the key essence of Maharaji's philosophy, just keep applying it every day, and then you will feel that Hari Guru are with you. They're sitting next to you in the car while you go to the grocery. They're sitting in the canteen at lunchtime. The gwalbals are there around the table. Oh, what have you mother packed for you for lunch today? Have that image in the mind, and then you feel it gradually. It takes time, and when it happens, it's magic.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much. With that, let us conclude. बोलिए श्रीमद् सतगुरु सरकार की जय, श्रीमद् युगल सरकार की जय, जय जय श्री
Shri
राधे,
Radhe.
जय
Jai
जय
Jai
श्री
Shri
Shri
राधे,
Radhe.
जय
Jai
जय
Jai
Jai
श्री
Shri
Shri
राधे.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.